Budgeting does not come easy to everyone. It's a fact. But when trying to get a handle on this adulting thing, it's so important to get a handle on your finances. Today's video, I'm going to cover some easy tips for any beginners who are starting the budgeting journey. Welcome back to Martin-MadeTV, inspiring life, home, and style. Today's video lays out a few simple and easy budgeting tips and techniques for anyone trying to get a handle on managing their income. First, let me preface this video by saying I am not a financial expert. I did go to school for finance and have a degree in it. However, I do not work as a financial professional. I'm just sharing some of the things I've learned over the years and some of the questions that I've actually received from others about budgeting and how to start and where to start. My number one tip for any newbie trying to start budgeting is to budget to zero. Now, basically what that means is you take your income and every single cent, every single dollar of money that you earn has a purpose, or it has a reason, it has a responsibility. It goes somewhere and it does something for you. So while a certain amount of your income does go to bills, and maybe another amount of your income might go to charitable organizations, or another section might go to savings, anything that's left over still has an assigned home. That assigned place can also be your pocket, just to have some general spending money. That assigned place could definitely be your luxury budget because, I'm not judging. You may have a budget that you like to put towards buying yourself luxury items every now and again. That assigned home could be for vacations because you love to travel. You get the point. Every single dollar that you make has an assigned purpose and assigned place when it comes in. This will prevent that feeling of your money being wasted or having absolutely no idea where your money went. I know some of us can relate to that. This also will help you get a better handle on where your money's going. If you suddenly realize that every 2 weeks you're spending $100 on Starbucks and you're not cool with that, then you can definitely take control and take charge and really make sure that your money is better working for you. Understanding that will be the first step in making some adjustments in your spending habits. My next tip is to balance your checkbook. Now, I know it's 2019 and hardly no one actually uses a physical checkbook, but the premise or the idea is still the same. So when you get that money in, it's important while you're budgeting to zero that you assign all of your money to its intended destination. Let me give you an example. So nowadays, you know how most of our things, you may have bills on auto pay, you may have subscription services like Netflix or Hulu or anything else that are coming out automatically, and it's not something you are physically writing a check for or something you're physically swiping your debit card for. So these things are always going to come out on a specified date. The point of balancing your checkbook when the income comes in is so that you know this $12 is going to Netflix and I can't touch it. Especially when you're not used to budgeting, you may have the habit of checking your bank account every few days to see what your balance is. But sometimes that's not your actual balance because there's some money there that should be allocated towards other things and it just hasn't been taken out yet. So it's important to balance your checkbook, or at least when you go through and do your budgeting, to make sure you're assigning every dollar to a specified place. And when you get to your end balance, and maybe there's $300 left over for spending, or some other dollar amount left over for spending, that's what you're operating in. You should never have to look back into your checking account to look at your balance because that can be misleading. So as long as you make sure you're balancing your checkbook, and you have that number in your head, maybe write it down, even if you need to, but you have that number in your head that you know is allocated towards spending and not a penny more. That helps you so that you don't overdraw your account, which is sometimes a problem, especially for younger people, and it helps you so that you know those specified bills are always going to get paid, and you're not using that Netflix money for Starbucks by accident. Balancing your checkbook gives you that leftover amount, and that number is non-negotiable. You shouldn't be spending anything over that amount. And after you balance your checkbook, don't look at your account again until the next time you get paid, of course. Which leads me into my third tip. No matter if you get paid bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, doesn't matter. Every time you receive income or every time you get a paycheck, and like I said, it might be flexible. Maybe you don't actually get a physical paycheck. Maybe you're paid out through some other means. But every time you receive income is when you sit down to budget. So the only times you're going to be budgeting is for every single paycheck that comes in. And the idea here is that it's a little bit easier to manage your budget in increments as opposed to as a whole. For example, instead of having the belief or working within the belief that I get paid $5,000 a month and I'm going to budget $5,000 a month, maybe it's easier for you to say, okay, on the first, I'm getting paid $2,500. So then within this $2,500, there are a certain number of bills that fall maybe within the first half of the month that are going to get paid out of that chunk of income. So you do your budget and you budget that specified paycheck and you put your money towards the bills, you put your money towards savings, you put your money towards fun or vacations or anything else. And once you budget every single dollar and give every single dollar a home, you're done with that portion of your budget. Now, the next time you get paid, which might be on the 14th or the 15th, you'll get another $2,500 in and you're going to budget for those bills in the second half of the month. And you're going to do the same thing. You budget for those bills, you budget for whatever's going towards savings, whatever might be going towards your mortgage, or whatever else with that chunk of $2,500. It makes it easier to digest the whole aspect of budgeting. Instead of trying to take the larger lump sum and give every single dollar a home, it helps you to kind of put it on a calendar, to split it up as you receive it. It breaks the task of budgeting down into more manageable chunks. And after you get better and better at budgeting, you can definitely do it on a monthly basis, even on a yearly basis. Some people do it. That's when you're really a pro, I think. And my next tip will be to plan for the extras. And what this means is if there's any income you receive that you weren't necessarily expecting, for example, maybe you get a tax return, maybe you get a bonus, maybe you get things that you don't necessarily figure into your regular income, you should still be planning for that money or planning how you're going to use that money. I sometimes like to think of this as free money, but it still has a purpose. If that free money, let's say you get a tax refund of maybe $3,000. Some finance professionals would argue to say, it's best to not get a refund at all, meaning you need to manage your withholdings and everything a little bit better, but we're not getting into that. Imagine you get a refund that's about $3,000 and you know it's coming, but just plan for it. Decide what you're going to do with it. If that means putting 90% of it towards your luxury budget, again, I'm not judging. Do what you got to do. Put 90% of it towards your luxury budget and 10% in savings. Whatever you want to do and however you want to do it, but make sure you have a plan for that extra income that comes in. Again, this is a simple way to make sure you don't get caught up in that feeling of, I have no idea where my money went. Nobody likes that feeling. You could even decide to use all of it in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever. As long as you have a plan for it. It puts you in control of your finances. And that's the main idea when getting into budgeting. Having a plan for your money. Putting yourself in control of your finances instead of your finances controlling you. And these 4 main tips of budgeting to zero, balancing your checkbook, budgeting each paycheck, and planning for the extras. It's not a comprehensive list of how to budget, but it's a great start for any newbies out there who have no idea where to start or how to do it. It really helps with shifting your mind about how money works and how you can make it work best for you. And as I said at the top of the video, I am not a finance professional. I do not work in finance, but I actually really do love this budgeting stuff. And in fact, there are some really great finance professionals right here on YouTube, and I'll list them down in the description box because they can really give you a lot more tips on how to budget, where to begin, and how to navigate your finances. So be sure to check that out. And please feel free to share some of your favorites in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to like the video if you found it helpful, leave a comment down below, and please do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.